Judy, did you have anything else you'd like to add?
She's done. She's getting in her umbrella. We're starting to get some rain out here, and we're dedicated to this cause. You know, if it starts to flood out here, guess who's going to be on this street? You might have an elevator with Judy, you know, but I'm dedicated. You know, I spent thousands of dollars to be here. I've taken time off work and I put all my own money, you know, to come here. And I'm going to stand in this rain. You know, I think I'm doing that just because I want to, you know, I got better ways to attack the church if that's my only motive here. It's not my only motive. There's a lot better ways to spend money if you're trying to attack the church. And this ain't it. That's not my motive here at all. I love some of the things the church has done for my own life. I look at the beautiful marriage I have to my wife, and I know that some of the spiritual training she was giving is why. You know, so there is some good fruits. You know, there is a baby in the bathwater. But the problem is there's something else in that bathwater. You know, there's a turd in that bathwater. So we're not asking you to throw the baby out, because there is some beautiful things in the church. We're asking you to get the harmful things out of the church, and keep the baby and get rid of what's left. We want the baby. I love righteousness. I love the cause of righteousness, but I don't like harm, and that's the only reason I put all this time and money into being here today. I want to make the church a stronger and safer place. I want to make it a more welcoming place for children. And if you do that, you'll find the church will grow if you'll protect children. But when you refuse to do that, when you harm people and they're leaving, you're going in the wrong direction here. The goal is to strengthen the fellowship and to strengthen the safety of the church, make it a light to the world. And, you know, nobody has all the answers, President Nelson, but at this point you're not even seeking more answers past what was given to you from those who came before you, past what church attorneys are telling you to do. You can do better. You can be remembered as the man who changed the Latter-day Saint culture, where children were no longer being harmed. That should be you, President Nelson. Should be you. But anyways.
I've said a lot.
Yes.
And a lot of people attribute strange reasons why people stand up for these kinds of things. A lot of victims are money grubbers. They're only after the money. And
that's what was told the Arizona girls.
That's exactly what was told the Arizona girls.
And all of the survivors I know, and I know a lot working with SNAP, we have 25,000 members, and it's a survivor support network, grassroots. Money isn't the thing. We don't want another child to go through what we went through. Not one. We're out to protect children. Protect every child.
You know what? You're making a point that applies to me directly. You know, I've had a lot of people ask, well, he's abused the church, why didn't you go through the church? Right? But I knew doing that, a couple of reasons I didn't do that. It comes with a non-disclosure agreement. We know that. So now I have to remain silent. My attorney, well, you got to remain silent. And for me to do that, I would be trading my son's blood for money. I'm not going to do that because the next child, I'm actually trading the next child's blood for by my silence. I would be trading the next child's blood for money. And by the way, another child did die in our exact ward 4 years after my son did. 16-year-old girl. But I did every effort to make sure I tried. I had the policy meetings. And so her blood is not on me. And I didn't take the money. And if I had taken that money and sued and got a settlement, and I remained silent and I did nothing, guess whose blood would be on me when I go to face God? It would have been her blood. How many other children's blood would be on me knowing better and saying nothing? I don't want the money. I knew that if I pursued justice for my son, I knew I could not pursue justice for my son and also have a policy meeting with church leaders to protect the next child. I couldn't do both. I knew that. If I was to go after and try to sue the church, you would not have listened to me on my efforts to policy efforts, which I did immediately after my son's death. I made a conscious choice to pursue policy change over litigation where I could get some money. I did not trade anybody's blood for money, and I can stand with my dignity here knowing I haven't done that. I've not traded lives for money. by remaining silent or, having an attorney telling me to remain silent just for the cause of the lawsuit while another child dies. I'm not here today for that money either. I've not ever once came after you guys for money. I've only came after you, the church, for one thing: policy change to protect the next child. Because nobody did that for my son. He's dead because people took money. They remained silent. That's not me. My integrity was never going to allow that. I don't want a penny. I really don't. What I do want is for children to not die because they're being harmed by their church. What I don't want is the parents of those children being aggressively attacked for wanting justice. These are the things I want. And whose hand this is in, President Nelson? It's in your hands.
Curtis wants to say yes.
Just a quick thought came to my mind as we're doing this. I was under the age of 10 in 1978 when right here the church made a policy change that blacks can have the priesthood. And that is the last big earth-shattering change that I've noticed. And we've got all these things we've talked about the last few days, and many things will continue to. And we're not 1978 anymore. Last time I checked, this is 2022, and there are real things going on. And I just really want to bring this up. Conferences this weekend. That's why everybody came in. We're not here hostile. We don't want to fight. But I would just like to see some policy other than what Kirkland and McConkey seems to do. And I just want to say thank you, Brian, Judy, Katie, and invite anyone to please come out and talk. But we need a policy change like 1978 that is going to help people be safer.
Here's one of our signs. When you know better, you do better. And that's what we're trying to get you to be, is to know better. And it's my prayer, and I'm even fasting for 5 days. My heart is into this, that hopefully you'll know better, and with that you'll do better.
One last thing I want to say. Scripture is an important thing in the LDS Church. And in Matthew, there's a verse that says, anyone who harms a child should have a millstone hung around their neck and be tossed into the sea. I agree with that. I would like all predators have millstones around their necks and thrown into the sea because of the harm they're doing to children. And these worthiness interviews are part of the problem.
And something else, when somebody protects the perpetrator, they're just as guilty. They call it the word for it. What's the word?
They're an enabler.
Well, they're an enabler, but there's also they're
Abetted.
There's another word. I'm just forgetting. My mind's losing me. But there's a word.
They're an accessory, an accomplice.
Yeah,
Keep going.
Yeah, I'll remember the word as soon as we get off this podcast. Something else, President Nelson? You go all the way back to 1982. Did you know that there was a policy? There was a policy that prevented, I was telling married couples what they could do in the bedroom. Did you know that?
I remember.
I remember that. And I was only 12 years old, right? And so there was a rage back when a lot of these policies were being enacted. It's kind of like masturbation, you'll go blind or crazy or something. That was that teaching back around the turn of the 19th century. You'll go blind but new knowledge came to the forefront, and we started to realize that maybe some of these things aren't exactly as taught. So a lot of this purity and perfection culture came during the time when they believed you'd go blind if you masturbated, right? This is crazy, but this is what a prophet's job is, President Nelson, is to have new truth come to the table and then to act on that truth. But with those, what they were telling the adults, married couples, what they could do in the bedroom, that didn't last very long. I think it lasted like 8 months. They had so many problems. It's like I say, sometimes the medicine is worse than the ill. And anyways, you had this was creating problems in marriages, and it was starting to put people in the path to divorce. And what happened is the prophets here in Revelator at the time wisely realized maybe we meant well with this policy, asking married couples what they're doing in the bedroom, inquiring. Right, but it ended up causing a greater harm, divorced families and kids with no divorced parents.